Yep. Hi, everybody. This is Angel Arts, and I am here with yet another candidate for the Dragon Age Season 2 tabletop campaign. I am here with Ella.
Hello.
So, Ella and I, we're just going to hang out, and we're just going to dive right into the interview. So, we're going to start with the out of character questions first. So, Ella, let's start with number one. What is it about the Dragon Age universe that interests you?
Uh, Man, just like the richness of the characters in the world. Like it's amazingly detailed, but it's also like flexible type thing. I love how there's all these different nations and all this history and stuff and lore. It's really fascinating, especially from I'm an archaeologist, so I'm just like, oh, there's old stuff. Oh, there's all this history. Yay. And it's like myths and legends. So I kind of like how history interprets things one way in one codex, but in another codex, it's like interpreted completely differently.
That's a really good answer. Thank you. Question number two. What is it about tabletop gaming or role playing that interests you?
Um, I really like that. There's like the interaction between people and how the richness of like the world is created, or how it can go. You think it will go one way, but then it goes completely the other way because like the interactions between people, and also like how it's flexible. Like you can do things in a role playing game that you can't just do in a normal video game. You have more freedom of choice.
Question number three. Why do you believe that you would be a good person for others to play with?
Well, I think I always like to try to have fun and um, hopefully try and come to compromises if people want to do one thing or the other thing. I tend to try and find a compromise or middle ground in things. So think that might be useful, maybe.
That's definitely very important. Number four. What do you think is your biggest weakness as a player, and how do you plan on overcoming slash improving that weakness?
Probably my ability to communicate. At times, I can be a bit nervous, or I can not communicate my thoughts effectively.
Okay.
But it's one of those things I'm always trying to work on.
Do you have an idea of what you might do to try to work on it?
Talk to more people.
Talk to more people. Okay.
Yeah, just like go
Perfect.
around, talk to as many people as I can, and practice makes perfect. So
There we go. Okay. Cool. And number five, I hoping is a little bit of a fun question. Pick any event or situation that took place in the Dragon Age season one, and how would your character have handled that situation differently or similarly?
well, I think I think there's a few moments where just Steel shows up,
Okay.
the Zaya demon.
Mm-hmm.
I think if my character was there, or a character I was playing was there, I think she'll try and like understand where just Steel is coming from, like why he wants to have so much power and why he started the light in the first place. What's his personal motivations? Like just trying to get inside his head and figure out
Gotcha.
and try and help him and help everyone else in the process. It's idealistic.
So let me ask you this: certain people like Maximilian might not have the patience to allow you to do that. So how would your character handle Maximilian if he's like, stop talking to that demon, out of the way, get out of the way,
Um,
and stop talking to the demon? How would she handle Maximilian?
Probably not in the safest way possible. She'll probably just like stand in between them and go, if you're going to get to that person for having a decent conversation, you're going to have to get through me first.
Wow. Okay. That's very, very brave of you to get in front of Maximilian. Not a lot of people can stand up to
Well,
Maximilian like that. So,
yeah, but it's also, I like to think if a character I'm playing or something do that, they also, some of the character, in particular Tessa, would be, has a low self esteem, like a low self worth. So she's like, oh, I'm expendable. Other people around me is more important. So it's like, it's brave, but it's also like You should really care about yourself a bit more than that.
I understand. Okay. Well, those are all of the out of character questions I want to ask. And so now we're going to go into the in character portion. Ella chose a very interesting character to interview with, Liam, Spirit Liam. So this is how we're gonna work this out. So the scenario that I'm gonna post for you, provide up for you, is this is hypothetical. This is not canon, or not
Okay.
necessarily going to be canon. Um, it's just for the purposes of this interview. Um, Explain how you plan on making contact with Spirit Liam. I'm just curious what your proposed thought was for that.
Probably just chilling out in the fade one day. Her best friend Emma decided to go off somewhere, so she's kind of bored and lonely. So she's just wandering around and might just run into him.
Okay, so you're spending time in the Fade, and we'll say that Liam runs into you. The spirit of Liam runs into you. You probably recognize. You may or may not recognize him. Because again, 5 years have passed since the end of the last campaign. I'm sure his name has been mentioned in the stories. There's been tons of stories and legends about what happened and how the Blight ended and who was involved in the Blight. So I'll let you decide if you actually recognize him in spiritual form. You're trying to befriend him. That's probably the best way to do this. We'll do it. We'll keep it simple.
Yeah.
We'll keep it simple. You're trying to befriend a new spirit because that's your thing. That's part of your shtick. Is you like to learn about spirits. You like to learn more about them, and your goal is try to get him to trust you, and get him hopefully get to a point where maybe you might be able to make contact with him again after this original meeting. Does that make sense? Okay, so
Yeah,
that's your
that
goal.
makes sense. It would be probably something she would do.
Okay, definitely think something you would do, and he might end up asking you a few questions, mostly to see if he can trust you. So you're hanging on to Fade, and you can't help but notice that there's this spiritual entity that sort of passes by, um, and the spiritual entity like sort of pauses and then turns towards your direction, and almost as if it was studying you for a little bit. How do you respond?
She'll probably just walk up to him and say, "Hey, what's up?"
The spirit pauses for a moment again and says, "Hello."
"Hello, I'm Tessa. What's your name?" "Sir, you kind of look like a Templar. Are you a Templar, spirit?" "Oh, I've never
I
met Templar spirit before. That'd be amazing."
I used to be a Templar. My name before I came here was. He pauses a moment as if he's trying to remember, as if this is in his distant, 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 distant memory on the back of his head. Liam, he finally
"Oh, that's a
says.
nice name." "Wait, Liam, do you just have like reddish hair?
Yes.
Are
How
you
do
the Liam
you.
who fought? Are you the Liam who fought like the Blight and stuff and like helps um the True of Tempest Dream defeat like the Archdemon and stuff, and those grand heroes like lead in with his Nemesis, and this is the story of legends. This is like modern day legend. Oh my gosh, you're like a real hero, like standing right in front of me. How was
If.
it? Was it amazing? Was it fascinating? Oh, how did it feel when you got crashed onto? What happened to you? How did you die? You think you fell off a mountain or a ship, flying ship?
I.
Did that hurt? I think it would hurt. Did anyone bury your
It.
body? If you
It.
need to, I can find your body somehow. I just have
It.
to escape the temple.
the entire time the spirit's just standing there as you're asking all these questions, and finally the spirit says, "It hurt a lot. I fell off of a ship."
Yeah, I imagine that. Yeah. Ow.
Does everyone know about me?
Well, I think a fair few people do, but I'm just kind of excessive about when I hear heroic stories from our legends. Like you did like a most heroic sacrifice. You sacrificed yourself to save that kid. I'm a big fan.
It had to happen, he says. Does
Yeah.
everyone know that I died by falling out of a ship? He asked as he asked in such a way that was like, is that what people remember about me, that I fell out of a ship and died? I guess is how he's asking that question.
What they remember is you died heroically sacrificing your life to save another.
That is comforting. What's your name
Tessa.
again?
Tessa, I don't have a last name.
Sorry, I missed it past all of the other information you were giving me. Nice to meet you, Tessa.
It's lovely to meet you too. I'm sorry about your untimely demise.
How long has it been since then?
5 years, give or take.
Has it really been that long already? It
Fate,
hasn't felt like that long.
fate time's different. I have this one spirit friend who shows up every few years and it's like, hey, it hasn't been that long. And it's like 2 years since I saw
You
you last. And it's like,
you have a spirit friend?
yeah, I have a few.
I didn't know we could make friends with you back there.
Well, that's all a matter of perspective. If you believe you can make friends, you totally can. The fate's like that. Power of your mind.
So you're a mage.
Yeah, I got robes on. Nice grey ones. Mortalitasi. Yeah.
Mortalitasi. Huh. I've heard stories about Mortalitasi.
There's
Why
lots.
why Mortalitasi?
Oh, because I was told to join the order. So I kind of just did. That's quite fascinating. I get to prepare tombs. I get to stand around court for ages bored. That's a little bit less fun, but plenty of access to libraries.
That's interesting. What is it about death that you find fascinating?
Um, it's not really death, it's more of the life. Because life and death are intricately connected. And to understand life better, sometimes you need to understand death.
I see. Well, tell me then, Ella, what are your thoughts on the Chantry and the Maker?
Oh, I love the Maker and the Chantry. Andraste was brave and she led an entire army and she freed so many people and started a movement which continued on for eons. And I kind of also find it fascinating how some people interpret her teachings in one way and some interpret it another way. I definitely prefer the version with Justice and May just going, yeah. I think that'd be cool, kind of awesome.
I
Although,
see. What about the Circle of Magi and the Templars?
it's okay. I get to access plenty of things that other mages don't particularly like me very much. The Templars are okay. One of them gave me my name. That was nice. Although he's not really feeling well lately. So that's a
What,
bit
they
unfortunate.
gave you a name? Like a nickname?
Oh, no, like my actual name. Someone dropped me out the circle one day and yeah, I didn't have a name, so they gave me one.
Huh. How does that happen?
Guess I was quite young and I just I just don't know
Huh.
much about my past prior to the circle.
The spirit pauses you as if studying you a little bit more, and then the next thing that Liam asks you, what are Mortalitasi's thoughts on blood magic?
Generally, they like to distance themselves from blood magic. But not everyone shares the same opinion.
What's your opinion?
I haven't tried it myself, but a lot of people think necromancy is purely evil. So, but in fact, it's not. It's just often misunderstood. Maybe it's the same for blood magic.
I would not get into blood magic if I were you, is what Liam says.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, it's not. It's a lot of bleeding and it's quite messy. I don't want to make a mess everywhere, and
Yes.
someone has to clean it up. And gosh, the blood would take ages for it to get out of the carpet and stuff.
Bleeding is quite messy. Yes. You can kind of softly hear the sound of maybe a spirit laughing, like a little spirit giggling to himself kind of. It's kind of nice actually. It's kind of pleasant. I'm
Oh,
afraid I have to get going, Ella, but maybe we can continue this conversation again some other time.
that would be most agreeable.
Can
Um,
you do me a favor before I go?
of course. What do you
Do
like?
you know of Lealden or Delwyn?
I read some stories. I heard people discuss them.
It's a complete stab in the dark, but if you ever run into them, tell them that I say hi.
Of course. I hope to see you again.
I would like that, Liam says. And with that, we'll end the scene.
Hi, I'm Tessa. I'm here to tell you why perhaps I should join the campaign. Mortalitasi. We have a keen interest in exploring the world. It'd be nice to get out of courts. King Marcus of late has been very disturbing. I'm sure he has his reasons. And I would also like to help you out. I have medical skills. Well, most of my patients are kind of dead, but I have great knowledge and anatomy from that, so I can adapt. I also have a few spirit friends. Maybe introduce you, show you a whole new world beyond what you know. I hope you consider me, and good luck with what you're doing in the future.